Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to my journey in beauty, where every video is an adventure in makeup and beauty, and I'm inviting all of you to come along with me. Today's adventure is my 3 looks, 1 palette with the Laura Lee Los Angeles palette. I don't usually do disclaimers at the front of my video, but I do have one for you today. So here we go. First of all, this video is a collab with a new friend of mine named Annette over at Annette's Makeup Corner. I'm gonna have her up in the cards, down in the description box, and on the end screen. So please, please, please check her out. We both do 3 looks, 1 palettes regularly on our channels. And I really like Annette's style. She has a very artistic eye. She has fabulous teal blue hair right now, and even so, every freaking color looks amazing on her, and her skills are just awesome. Also, we've been on YouTube around the same amount of time, and she is killing it. She's very fresh, very frank, and I think you can't go wrong watching any of her videos. So thank you, Annette, for agreeing to this collab. Now for the disclaimer. We both had some mixed feelings after this collab had gotten underway when the Laura Lee drama, for lack of a better term, came out on YouTube and social media. I'm not going to get into that. I am, however, going to tell you that this project was conceived, planned, and filmed ahead of the current controversy with Laura Lee and her brand. We decided to go ahead and do this collab after much discussion and direct messages, because you need to know about this palette, because if you're not at all turned off by the Laura Lee controversy and you think you might want this palette, then you need to know what I have to say about it. And the same with Annette. I think you're gonna be surprised, given my general positivity on my channel, that this is not going to be a positive review. I did get my palette sent to me from BoxyCharm, and I'm glad that it came to me that way. But before I spoil too much more, let's go ahead and get into the demos, and we'll come back for my final thoughts and review on this palette. Starting with damage control, we're gonna just diffuse this out in the transition area. Did you know you don't have to use a brown or some fleshy tone in your transition area? You can use any shade you want, building it up a little bit, especially closer to the crease. Next is Karaoke, this nice periwinkle blue, and that is going straight into the crease, specifically focusing on both the outer and inner part of the eye, of the outer corner and the inner corner, like you would do if you were building a halo eye. Back to damage control, and we're going to blend out that crease shade and build up that turquoise a little bit in the transition. Adding some NYX glitter primer here to the center of the lid. And going into Karaoke, I'm going to put this shade all over the mobile lid and also blend it in the crease a little bit, not bringing it up past the crease. Back to Karaoke, and we're going to just deepen this up a little bit more in the crease, both the outer and inner corner of the eye. And now it's a party. I'm going to use this to kind of blend out and add a little definition and interest to the transition shade, which is damage control, and it actually created a kind of green look. Now going in with this pink shade, and this is meant to be my halo in the center of the eye. I'm using my finger here because this is literally the only way to build this color up. And here comes some magic. Ta-da! Not my favorite look, by the way. Paired it with the Kat Von D Studded Kiss lipstick in the shade Mother. And here's the final look. Like I said, not my favorite look at all. Very colorful. Going first into the shade Drinks, we're going to build this up on the outer V as well as the outer third of the crease. Overall, this orange shade, it's a really nice color, but don't blend it too much or it tends to blend away. Next is It's a Party, and we're going to be putting this in the inner 2/3 of the crease, blending it with that orange shade Drinks, and also kind of blending out that Drinks shade and diffusing the color. Plus, here's a little blending situation. Next, we're going back to Drinks. I'm going to deepen up this outer V a little bit, just punch it up for any we might have lost when we were blending with the yellow. Like I said, if you blend too much, it's gonna just disappear. Don't forget to rock out, folks. Bottoms Up is the next shade, and I'm gonna be putting this on the inner 2/3 of the lid. Starting out with a brush here, but no likey, so we're gonna try it wet. And nope. Shake of the head, that's a fail. No likey. Mad face, going in with the finger. I'd like to give this shade the finger because this shade is impossible to build up. Next, we're going back into Drinks, and we're going to just blend out that pink and make sure we have no harsh lines. Back to It's a Party and giving one last blend. Back to Bottoms Up. I'm going to wrap this around the wrap it around the tear duct. And next is Drinks on the lower lash line, making sure that we're all connected with the orange in the outer corner here and blending it with the pink. And here's my Mega Glow highlighter in Blossom Glow. I'm gonna use this for the brow bone and the inner corner in case you don't read sign language. And honestly, that's exactly what this palette is missing, is something to highlight with. All these shades are beautiful, but I really need a more light shimmer. So get ready for the magic. Here we go. Boom. I hope you can see that I did give my hand a shot at winged liner. And overall, I did really like this look. Definitely need more practice with the liner though. First, going into the shade Karaoke. I'm going to put this in my crease and on the outer corner of the eye. Really taking time to blend as I go before I deepen it up too much. This shade definitely presents darker on the eye than in the pan. Next to Damage Control, and that's going to go in the middle of the lid as well as the center of the crease, blending it as much as possible with Karaoke. Cue the Sharp Tape for a little bit of a cut crease. I know I didn't go up very high with the cut crease here, but that definitely was intentional. I'm really trying to give a nice white base to go in with the next shade. Next is It's a Party, and this shade is really hard to build up. However, it does eventually pay off. I just find that it fades quite a bit throughout the day. So here I am building that up in the inner corner of the eye, kind of going at it a little bit of an angle. And now I'm taking a little pencil brush to go ahead and bring that yellow up into the crease to blend with Damage Control. Next, we're going back to Karaoke, and we're going to use this on the outer third of the lower lash line and connecting it with the corner, the outer corner. Back to Damage Control, that's going to go on the center of the lash line. Little cleanup with the Sharp Tape so we give a nice clean line and don't go down too far with the shadow. And then just a little blend so we don't have a completely harsh line into my Becca Vanilla Quartz highlighter for a little brow bone highlight. Gonna give it a spray before we go into the inner corner here. Silly little mirror. And here I am just wrapping it around the tear duct to meet with the Damage Control shade on the lower lash line. This is what she's looking like. Get ready for the magic. Boom. Here's the completed look. This is my favorite look out of all of the looks that I created from this palette for sure. It's fun, it's colorful. see, I am wearing the third look today. This was definitely my favorite look that I created from this palette. It was relatively painless to create. While I cannot say the same thing about my first two looks, if you use more than 3 shades out of this palette, you're going to end up with a muddy mess, which is exactly what happened with the first look. This is just not a palette where you can use all the colors in a look. I've seen it done, but overall, it's not a result that I'm looking for. There's definitely some standout good shades, as well as some standout, like really standout bad shades. The first shade in the palette is this neon yellow green called It's a Party. This shade is not a horrible shade, but I will say this shade is, while it's blendable, it is barely buildable. When I applied this shade for the look today, I did have to use my finger in order to get any color payout at all. I feel like this is a color I practically have to grind into my pores to get the color payoff and the pop that is needed. Today, how I made it work is I did cut the crease a little bit with some concealer, and that definitely seemed to help. Next is this teal blue color called Damage Control, and this is a good and vibrant and blendable shadow. I really do like this shade. And then moving on to Karaoke, a periwinkle blue in my opinion. The only thing I will say about this one, however, is that it is very pigmented. However, on the eye, it does not translate as bright and bold as it does in the pan, but it is definitely pigmented and it is also easy to work with. Moving on to this orange shade right here called Drank. This is another shade that is also more bright and bold in the pan than it is on the eye. This definitely translates much more muted and almost earthy than fluorescent once you get it on the eye. It is, however, very blendable and buildable, and so it performs okay. This pink one right here, which is called Bottoms Up, is my throwaway shade. If I could pick one shade in this palette to throw in the garbage, this would be it. It does appear to be shimmery. It is not, in fact, a shimmer shade. It is a matte shade with glitter in it. Again, like most matte shades with glitter in them, it does not translate or present the glitter on the eye. The other thing about this shade is it is very, very hard to build up. It's very powdery and it does not stay present on the eye. This shade right here fades very, very quickly, which was a big disappointment to me. And last, we have the one and only actual shimmer shade in the palette, and that is Hungover. And it is a dark purple shimmer. I wish this was lighter. I think it would go with the color story more if this was a more vibrant, bright shade of purple. It is a nice purple. It does have a nice reflect to it or shift. However, it is so dark that it really makes it hard to incorporate into a look, especially because since this is a shimmer, it makes it extra hard, let's say, to layer this pink or this yellow over the purple for a brightening, lifting effect like you might do with a halo eye or what have you. Some more general thoughts and notes about this palette is this is Fallout City. Just about every shade in here, including this yellow shade right here, have fallout. I am not one that normally experiences fallout, but I'm also used to using a more high quality eyeshadow that I don't have to build up quite so much, so I did experience fallout under my eyes all 3 days. Next, the two primers that I did use this palette with this week were the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the anti-aging version, as well as the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. I definitely felt like this performed better over the Urban Decay Primer Potion. The NYX Jumbo Pencil is definitely a go-to for me when it comes to doing bright looks, which is why I tried it with that. However, it is a little bit thicker and a little bit more sticky of a base, and this, because it's so powdery and dry, really did not perform well, and it almost made my eyes look old and cakey, and like I just don't know how to apply my makeup, and it bums me out, guys. Overall, this palette and this project was such a challenge to me. Like I said, this is the only look that I even kind of liked that I got out of this palette. I've done 4 full looks, as well as one night I did 1 look on one eye and 1 look on the other eye just to practice and play around. And like I said, this is the only one that felt acceptable to me when I was done. I don't want to say I use shimmers as a crutch, but I love me some shimmers, and I found it very, very difficult to create looks only from this palette, which is what I try to do when I'm testing and doing 3 looks 1 palette. I found myself having to bring in a highlighter almost each day just for a little inner corner highlight, maybe a brow bone highlight, and just to give some life to this very dry, very matte palette. I almost threw in the towel quite a few times, if I'm being honest, which I always am with you guys. And this palette quite possibly may end up decluttered. I am going to do a little bit more testing. I have a project coming up where I'll be rotating through all of my eyeshadow palettes, so stay tuned for that. So I do want to put this through that rotation and give it a chance to be used with other palettes. See if I feel better about it when I have shimmers at my disposal, specifically lighter shade shimmers. So I'm not going to declutter it quite yet. Definitely was tempting based on some of the Laura Lee controversy. I was disappointed. This, if I had to give it something out of 5 stars, I would maybe give it 2, maybe. So I hope that's saying something to you. Again, thank you so much to Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. Make sure you check her out. Her channel and her video will be linked below in the description box for you. And I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days. We will see you in the next video. Bye!
And including, you know, the boxy charm video, or including the look that I did. I've had too much coffee.